Now, Omid Scobie's latest bombshell royal book was released at midnight and has already been branded plain nasty and vicious by royal sources. Well, joining me now to discuss this is former royal editor of The Sun, Charlie Ray. Good morning to you, Charlie.
Good morning, Julia. And I don't care about the Elgin marbles either.
Good, excellent. I mean, genuinely, like, who cares? But anyway, there we are. Maybe Elgin and marbles, I don't know. But anyway, look, let's talk about this new book. Omid Scobie definitely cares about the royals, doesn't he? Did you think it was quite strange that he claims to have had, really no dealings at all with Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and yet this book pretty much takes aim at every single senior royal and some pretty junior royals as well. I mean, lambasts them all, infighting, power struggles, briefing against each other, you name it. The only people who come out of this completely covered in, just complete sort of, just whiter than white, is Harry and Meghan. Do you think that's a bit of a coincidence?
Well, they're destined for sainthood, clearly, Julia. I mean, Scobie and Harry and Meghan, both sides say they have not cooperated with this book. Now, in Finding Freedom, his first book, Scobie's first book, they said exactly the same thing and then were forced to admit that there had been cooperation. Now, Scobie is saying he's not interviewed or spoken to the Duchess or Harry about this book. If he hasn't, then clearly he's spoken to people who are in their circle and who have got their confidence.
And we had that in a previous court case, haven't we, when they had to admit there were, aides had actually been told to brief the papers or brief a book. I mean, we know this.
Look, Julia, I don't know Omid Scobie. I only ever heard of him for about 4 years ago. He suddenly appeared on the screen covering Harry and Meghan. I have no idea what royal contacts he has. I would be staggered if you've got anybody within the palace or Kensington Palace who's feeding him any stuff against the current crop of members
that
of the
said,
royal
there
family.
are quite a lot of ex-staff who might be disgruntled for various different reasons. We know that often they will be speaking that you spent years on. I mean, the Queen knows who you are. The former Queen, the current King and Queen know who you are. They would greet you and say hello. That that you would have been speaking to sources. We all know that. When we are told, look, the royals certainly under the late Queen always had the view, never explain, never complain, and it's not fair if people attack them, they can't speak back. You know as well as I do, the royal palaces have been briefing on behalf of the royals since time immemorial.
Oh, sure, Julia. I mean, you'd be stupid to think that they didn't. I mean, you've only got to look at some of the papers this morning where, the royals are supposed to be describing this book as vicious. Well, someone said that word. It may not have been William or Catherine, but someone within the royal household may have said that word to journalists. That is the extent of the briefing. That's how we know that they're not happy. Look, you and I have both read dozens of royal books.
No, I'm going to tell you right now, I have never
read one.
wasted enough of my time that I would read a royal book, with all due respect.
Well, there's been dozens of royal books, Julia, authored, unauthored, and made
dozens.
Up. I put Omid Scobie's book in the made-up section. When we read this, or when you see the extracts from this book, there are so many things in here that are just old hash stuff revamped, like that there was a shining light in the Paris tunnel that helped kill Princess Diana. That's already been discounted, not just by the Lord Stevens inquiry, but by everybody who has anything ever to do with it. And this sort of things that are in this book. He's now complaining that we, the nasty newspapers, have taken all his words out of context. Remember, he had the book serialized in Paris Match, which is where we got it from. Well, the papers have got it from. So he's always complaining about things and everything else. Is this book going to cause any damage to the royal family? No, it's not. It's uncomfortable, certainly, and they won't like it, particularly the references to the attacks on Princess Catherine. I find that disgraceful.
Yeah, now that's interesting. But she is someone who sort of can do no wrong. I mean, basically, Kate wears a new dress, which is every day. She's in the papers, and she's sort of clapped and applauded. With all due respect, for doing her job. She does it very well, all credit to her. But a lot of these things, we've got these, accusations against King Charles. You know, he called Harry that fool over Netflix. That he has his shoelaces ironed. Reminds me of that claim, which was we were told wasn't true, that he has 7 eggs, boiled eggs made for him. He chooses the one that is most done to the right amount. Meghan told Charles there are 2 royal races. She wrote this letter. Prince Harry doesn't care if he doesn't get an apology. Kept in the dark about the Queen's death. No one messaging him. Princess of Wales hasn't spoken to Meghan in 4 years. Terrified of doing anything than grinning photo ops. I mean, you can certainly see a disgruntled sister-in-law in those claims, can't you? But does any of this add up to anything meaningful?
Well, I suppose it does. Just take the letters for a second. She has written a letter to the now king when he was Prince of Wales, giving the names of 2 alleged racists in the royal family. If I remember correctly, Meghan herself took the Daily Mail to a court, and I think the court case is still rumbling on, because they printed extracts from a letter that she wrote to her father. Now, it'd be interesting to see if she now takes action against Omid Scobie for revealing details in a private letter.
A very fair point. That's the thing. They want it both ways, but that's been the whole story, hasn't it? That whole sort of, you know, people talking about our private life. Oh, let's sell our lives to Netflix. Let's sell it to Spotify. Let's sell it to anyone. Charlie Ray, I could talk to you about this for hours. I sort of hate doing these stories. It's just the best gossip in the world, isn't it? Former royal editor at The Sun. Thank you very much, as always, for joining us.